Hi. So, if you are planning to do design research on artificial intelligence, it will probably be quite hard to get published. So, this is why the authors of this paper gathered all of the most common reasons for being rejected and offer some pathways how to overcome these obstacles. What is design research on artificial intelligence? So, in general, design research is when you are trying to develop a new construct, method, maybe an algorithm, maybe a metric, maybe a measuring tool, or something like that, that kind of is can be used inside of the scope of your domain. So in this case, the domain is the using artificial intelligence as a tool, and it's a really important branch of research because it kind of connects uh, the users, the social economical part with the information technologies, in this case AI. And one of the big reasons why those papers get rejected is that people like me, people who are not from the technical field, are often doing this kind of theoretical research, and it can happen really fast that you make some generalizations or misunderstandings about AI technologies in your paper. So that's why it's really important to team up with somebody who is from the computer science domain to help you with that. Then another big problem is that AI is developing very fast, but the publication process of this kind of papers is particularly slow, so it can take many months or even a year until you get published, and by this time your work is maybe no longer even relevant. But the authors also say how important it is to do this kind of research in information systems, like I said, to get this social technical perspective into the AI technologies. And this is kind of this axis of cohesion for the two disciplines. So, what were the six most common reasons for getting rejected for these kind of papers? First, like I've already mentioned, the moving target problem, because it's really difficult to keep up with the state of the art. Maybe by the time that your paper gets published, there is already another paper out which describes a better method than yours. Then the second problem are the incommensurable perspectives. So the people who will evaluate your paper come from different subjects, so they will have different perspectives on your paper. So there will be persons again who are much more technical and algorithmic, and then will be people who are much more conceptual. So the feedback that you can get can even be contradictory to itself, and makes it kind of impossible to make adjustments to your paper. So at the end, you will basically have to do the whole research again from the start. Then the third problem, idiosyncratic instantiation. It's quite a complicated word, but it's about so instantiation means using a particular technology or method in a particular domain. So you can use the same technology in particular different domains. So different domains, for example, would be medicine and finance are two different domains. So the authors say one of the problems is that the authors or the creators often focus on the application in a specific domain instead of looking for adaptations from of technologies which are already existing from other domains. So it's better to do an adaptation. In this case, then you do not have to justify your design decisions from the start. You already have some justification from the other domain. So then the problem number four, Sometimes with those AI models, it's hard to demonstrate the practical utility of the model. Sometimes the relevance is too small, so the contribution in the prediction is too small. So the reviewers would say, well, the old method without AI is only maybe 5% less accurate than your method. Is it justifiable to use the new method or not? Just because it's AI, it doesn't mean that it's better. And then you have also this other dilemma when it comes to generative AI, is that the results are not always the same. So you have some variation in results as well. So the prediction practicality is sometimes also not that high. Then the problem number 5 is that the evaluators have quite high expectations or for even unrealistic requirements. So, for example, you would make a model and they would give you feedback that you should try this on a more capable computer or with a more capable model, because you could get even better results. But this is, of course, not accessible for everybody, because it costs a lot of money to run such models. So this can be a problem. So these benchmarks and comparison standards are kind of moving all of the time. And then the last impediment or problem are the deployment demands. So in design research, one of the needed contributions is also that the new so we call these new models, we call them artifacts, that the new artifacts is tested on the field. So it's tested in real world. So it can happen that the evaluators have quite unrealistic expectations about field implementation and the system maturity and deployment readiness of your tool. So this is why the authors suggest some pathways for writing and publishing this kind of research papers. So here at the bottom, you can see the artifact typology. So we have different types of artifacts that we create. For example, new knowledge models, new data management models, predictive models, prescriptive models, generative models. And for example, a certain article like Article A could create a new data management model, but then focus on the abstraction spectrum, on the formal design principles of designing such a model. So at the top, you see this scale, basically the abstraction spectrum, which goes from left, which is not very abstract, to the right side, which is very abstract. So the most abstract is design theory itself. And on the left hand, the salient design insights. This means more like the insights about particular features of your tool or solution or model. So you could write about a particular feature, or you could define new design problems, or you could make a design which is very heavily theory guided, or you could even create new formal design principles, or even contribute to the design theory in your paper. And this ensures that your paper has much more longevity, and it's not about a particular AI model or machine learning model. It's more about really this design level of it. And whilst doing that, we also should be wary of the necessary characteristics. So there are like 3 necessary characteristics. You have to create something new. You have to be very rigorous in your design decisions, and you need to have some deployment or other downstream impact on the field. So it has to be practical. It has to have some deployment possibilities on the field, and it should be tested for its accuracy as well. And there are other desirable traits. So richness of design adaptation, it means that it can be very good, well adapted to a specific domain, that it contributes to this social technical cumulative tradition of knowledge, and that it has some instrumental humanistic outcomes. So it has to be important for people, to help people develop further and solve problems. So on the last slide, I just have one presentation from this paper, which shows the different papers and the roots papers which were published from the design research in artificial intelligence area, and the routes which those papers took to be published. Yeah, so I hope you liked this overview. This is highly relevant for me because I do plan to create a measuring method to measure the quality of AI-generated medical notes in psychiatry. So I will surely try to keep all of these steps in mind. See you soon. Bye.